Markets open. We get it.
Ring, 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 hello, simps and
Vegans.
virgins.
No.
Not vegans. And welcome back to
Focus.
Krown's magical,
Land it.
sexy internet money cave.
What the fuck was that? No emotion?
New year, same protection cave.
It's a new year, new me. That's right. Everything's changed. It's the year 2022, and everything's going to be better this year. Except it doesn't actually fucking matter. And we got plenty to talk about today with good old Bitcoin, of course. Opening up the first week of the new year for real trading, and this is actually a very important week because, or really, realistically, the first few days here, because we have new flows, baby, new flows, and that is the biggest boolah hopium that we could have for right now. But it actually does matter, and typically does account for quite a fair bit in traditional markets, as it will kind of flow into Bitcoin as well, as we do get more and more traditional sort of avenues flowing into Bitcoin with the Bitcoin ETF and of course futures as well. So with all of that in mind, this week is actually a little bit more of a posturing for the next like couple months to come, but overall, there's certainly a few setups on the board right now and plenty to discuss, especially in the short-term time frame. So with that said, I would like to wish you a happy and healthy start to this nice new week of new opportunities and a new year of new me's, and let's get into it right now on the Krown chain application, which, by the way, big fucking announcement, baby, big fucking announcement. Holy shit, it's a massive announcement. We have a humongous update coming in for free, for the motherfucking price of free, in just one day, I do believe. It's not tonight, but tomorrow night. They're going from the 4th to the 5th of January, and we have a whole new update which is going to allow you to essentially use hourly data for a lot of our market data, and going to give you access to all sorts of other things as well. And we got a shit ton of updates coming after that are going to be a nice bang bang bang, as my developers have promised me, so we're all good in the hood right there, and I'm very, very excited about that because it's going to be massively useful for myself and perhaps even useful for you as well. And so with that in mind, let's focus now on the current rendition of the Krown chain application. No sale! There'll never be a sale again, in fact. So with that said, sorry, just having a little bit of fun, man. Hey, price action's been boring as fuck. I'm trying to find something fun to talk about right now. And so, no fun allowed here, says Elsa. That's exactly right. By the way, speaking of no fun, I see our mod squad in the building right now. What's up, Nimbo? Good morning to you, man. Happy New Year. Mr. Rocky G, Nikki Page, good morning to all you. And Philson, what's up, Mr. Philson? Elsa's here as well, so that's great. Who else do we have? Do we have Randy? I don't know if Randy's here, but I do see you, Willis, and you know we're gonna get to your damn CRO today as well. I expect that other people are gonna ask about it as well. And there he is, Bear Nutrition. What's up, man? Happy New Year, Cave. Happy New Year, Cave, indeed. And I want to wish everyone a nice and sincere Happy New Year because, well, why the fuck not, man? It might even help in your life and perhaps even mine as well. Spread around those fucking good emotions because, well, the more that it goes around, well, a rising tide lifts all ships. So let's get into the Krown chain application right now, and I actually will show you a very brief snippet of the new rendition of this one. And please do understand that there's going to be a shit ton of things more added to it over the next coming months here. But with that in mind, let's start off with the current one, and we do see that Bitcoin dominance still around 40%. We've actually seen it kind of hovering around 40% for about the whole last month. Very little has actually changed coming into the end of the year. Fear and Greed Index is also up to a 29 from a 21 read, and we do see, or I know that because I actually had my alerts back on over here, and you can see that, well, my Fear and Greed Index is going to actually, my alerts on the Krown chain application, which, by the way, you can do this for yourself, is going to take off if we actually go back into the extremely fearful zone, or if we go out of the if we go out of the fearful zone, which actually should be a little bit under 50. In fact, I'm going to put it for a 40 read right now because I think that would be I have a limit of 3. What the fuck? A limit of 3? How about we just get rid of that one? I actually want to put in another one right here. I'm going to put it over 35 in this case, just to have a little bit of an early sort of warning for this. So let's go back into it right over here. And actually, what I want to show you right now is a new rendition of this app, because I do want to be looking at the market data tab over here, and we do see that currently the funny rates are about 0.001%, which is basically around 0, which is underneath parity, which does imply that yes, there have been a little bit of more over aggressive shorts in the current segment of the market in the last couple of weeks here, basically around this, let's just call it mid $40,000 territory. So yes, there are a lot of potentially trapped positions going up right now, both longs and shorts, but obviously shorts still have trend in their favor and they are in profit, so you can't really squeeze a side that is in profit. Obviously, it's like, what are you gonna do? Fuck, they squeezed me, so I took some profit and things went well, and then I just repositioned, basically. But my point is that still, as long as Bitcoin is within the $52,000 to $52,000 range to the upside versus about $45,500 to range to the downside, you're not going to see any sort of major massive price action that can be, of course, massively propelled by this major liquidation event that is very much looming in our faces. How do we know this? Because the leverage ratio over here, which I will just briefly make a little bit bigger for everyone, is at pretty much all-time highs. Yes, we do see an ever so slight downturn in it in the past couple days, but ultimately this is still pretty much uncharted territory. Now, people have brought up some interesting concerns with this in the sense that, yes, Bitcoin does have an ETF now, and so naturally speaking, there is going to be more leverage just inherently on this asset. Yeah, 100% that is true, but this is of course a living sort of thing, and we can see that over time, getting into these regions over here has been an issue, and of course, we do expect it to get higher over time as more and more people join this market, but it's going to be one step at a time, and I still think this is rather concerning over here, especially when you start to line it up with the global open interest from this pane, which I'll actually shove in right in over there. I want to blow this one up as well, which maybe we can do actually just like that, and of course you do see that the global open interest is, it's not at all-time highs alongside the leverage ratios, but it is relatively high. And anytime that we have seen it essentially above this 13 billion marker, it has actually always been resulted in downside moves. Now, I wouldn't say that this is going to be 100% correct from here on out for forever. Of course, you can get, over leveraged shorts as well. It's called a fucking short squeeze, obviously, but we actually haven't seen that in the past year. Why is that? Because Bitcoin's been in a fucking uptrend the last year in a macro bull market, obviously, but it is worth repeating that, hey, yes, anytime that Bitcoin has been above about 13 billion open interest on the charts, well, we have seen major downside price action. So again, not the biggest one, but the first major one that we see over here was of course coming in from the April highs before Bitcoin went from 60,000 to 30,000 bucks. Then again, we saw it in September from about 53,000 to 40,000 bucks in just what seemed like one day. And then of course the more recent one is on our current all-time high at $69,000 before that moved down to about $41,000 wick low. So I think that does deserve a bit of repetition there. If we actually go down to the hourly data, you will notice that this has been steadily coming down basically since the 27th of the past month of the past year, obviously, and now kind of curling back up here. So people are starting to once again put on a little bit more positions in the shorter term time frames. You can see it get a little bit more interest, which you do expect coming into a new year. Again, it's new flows. It's new, this is when the big boys deploy their capital, typically speaking, at the start of every quarter, and especially at the start of the year. And they typically withdraw at the end of the year as well, which is what we saw more recently. So I thought that was rather interesting. I think that these all deserve a lot of looks right now, just because this is obviously going to matter. And soon enough, we'll actually be able to match this up, the open interest versus CBD data, of which we already have the market moves over here, which is kind of relatively similar. Just we want that in a chart format as well, so you can match it up, especially on lower term timeframes. I think that's going to be a major new sort of key that we can include into the analysis. Anyways, what I want to do now is I want to go into the actual charts themselves, and let's talk about the things to be aware of most, I do suspect. So first and foremost, Bitcoin opening up on a bit of a gap up on from last Friday's closure on CME. Or sorry, was it Friday or Thursday? No, it was Friday. I believe it was Friday at least. And anyways, 46,400 is kind of the area to be watching right now. That is going to be your gap fill if Bitcoin does pop back down around. However, ultimately, I do still think that Bitcoin has at least one more bounce off this lower end territory right here. And why do I say that? Well, it's basically the same chart that we've been looking at for a while now, and it's no more complicated than this. In fact, I'm just going to go to the most simplistic chart right here, and it's this. It's the good and bad ranges, if you will. Now, of course, price action is neither good nor bad. It is neutral, obviously, and I'm kind of looking at this from a bullish bias perspective, as I think that most people kind of just generally have that in a market like this. But ultimately, below about 45,500 on a daily closure, yes, I am looking for still that move down about $41,000. We certainly have the open interest and leverage ratio reads that you'd be looking for to have a washout like that. That does kind of increase the probability that this gets resolved to the downside first, but before that, is there a bounce, likely in our midst? Probably yes. And if we do go over to our momentum oscillators over here, I imagine that probably most of them on the shorter term timeframes are especially turning up right now. But just because I landed here on CME for today, the 2-day is obviously turning up with any sort of a closure above 46,500, currently trading about, $600 above there right now. That can really be doing too much for us, as this does still have another day to go until closure. The daily I thought was rather interesting here too, as it is going to be coming hard down below about 51,200, which is around the upside resolution of this current range. Again, the range just basically between $52,000 wick high and 45,500 closing lows. So until we have, until we have confirmation above or below that range. Again, it's still not really giving us too much, but ultimately, if we go over here to spot price action, we're actually going to see a bit of a different picture, which I think is deserved of some repetition. Again, we do see that daily Stokes are going to actually be turning up today with any sort of a closure above 46,940, which Bitcoin's actually currently trading about $60 above. Obviously, a lot can happen between now and 7 p.m. Eastern time, but if that condition is met, that would be sort of the next sort of generally good thing, suggesting that Bitcoin bounces at least one more time off this current area before anything else, and bounce targets could very easily be back up towards $50,000. And how would you confirm a bit of a short-term bounce in progress with targets actually not just somewhere about $49,500 to $50,000? Where would it essentially be? It'd be right exactly, let me actually go to this chart right here because we already got it in. It'd be right exactly here at about the $48,000 and some odd change level. Any sort of a 4-hour closure above there would be good enough for me. It would also be the 618 Fibonacci retracement from this whole range in its totality over the past month and a half now. Above there, I do look for Bitcoin to move up at minimum to the 382 Fibonacci retracement, which is also kind of your more very, very short-term range highs in this case, or sorry, your medium-term range highs at about 49,500. And then of course, does Bitcoin, give the try to $50,000 or so? Probably yes, because we would start to see all momentum oscillators on your medium and higher term timeframes for both spot and actually CME. Turn up in unison as well. So I think that all of that would obviously be, generally good here as we do go down into the lower term timeframes for right now. Let's see what we got going on. 4-hour Stokes actually going to be turning down with any sort of a closure below 47,300. 3-hour is also going to be showing downside momentum below about 47.5. Bi-hourly is going to be showing upside above 47, and hourly is going to be showing upside above 47 as well. So we do see the lower term timeframes kind of bifurcated right here. What does it typically align with? Typically aligns with a bit of sideways price action, and then the medium and higher term timeframes typically take over. So it would be worthwhile to check out the 6 and 12-hour here, of which the 6-hour is going to be freshly turning down below 47.3, and 12-hour is going to be freshly turning up above 46.5. So we see actually all time frames kind of not in unison. In these cases, I should be going to CME to kind of break the bias in this case, and we do see that 12-hour is still, more or less corrective here, but will officially turn up above 47,500. Again, that doesn't even really resolve the range for what it's worth as well, but you can see that all of these things, regardless of whether the short-term time frame or medium-term time frame, will be naturally turning up if the range is resolved above $48,000. And then of course you have a range resolution plus momentum also turning up. Extremely likely Bitcoin does see 49,500 after that. And then we kind of come back after that, I suspect. But I do want to check out the other lower term timeframes for CME specifically, just to see if there's anything, obvious staring us in the face. We see 6-hour also turning up above 46.4. Okay, so far so good, obviously. 4-hour is going to be hard down below 48. Not great. 3-hour hard down below 47.5. Still within striking distance, I would say. Bi-hourly is going to be up above 46, and hourly is going to be also up above 46.8, actually. So very similar to spot price action right here. This is one of the few times where I'm not getting anything super unique from CME. Of course, we go over the daily stochastic momentum signature, of which I don't want to go through the full rigmarole on this one, but basically, if you go through the historical analysis on this one, we are working on the exact same formation as the last 2 major times that we have seen this signature confirmed, which was back and over here on the macro cycle lows in 2019, early at 3,100, and then of course the more recent one, not that recent I guess, but in March 2020 coming after the flu dump, both ascending triangles, and then of course the same thing going on over here in one massive macro ascending triangle, which still has yet to be confirmed, which will not be confirmed until Bitcoin gets back above minimum $60,000, and more importantly, can be of course negated. Can also be destroyed as well if Bitcoin does come back down and especially close below the last higher low on the daily, or sorry, on the weekly in this case at about $41,000. But until that happens, I am still happy to be macro bullish on Bitcoin. The question is, does Bitcoin come down to $41,000 or not first? If I had to call it right now, I think Bitcoin at minimum gets one more bounce off this $46,000 level, and then the result around the $50,000 region is going to be very, very telling. If Bitcoin gets a hard rejection there, well, that's probably going to be the setup for just slicing like a fucking knife through butter below the current lows and initiating that move to kind of retest around your wick lows that we did see, of course, from the 4th of December dump-ola. And if Bitcoin doesn't, if Bitcoin kind of, puts in a higher low anywhere above about 47,500 or sorry, not 47.5, but $48,000, then that's going to probably be the next sort of confirmation that I'll be looking for to get earlier in being bullish for a range resolution above $52,000. $48,000. Until then, it's basically the same thing as what we've been seeing before. I know it's kind of fucking boring, but that is a lot of trading, of course. So I do want to check out momentum oscillators over here just to see, and just general indicators on my regular charts, just to see if there's anything, you know, obvious as well. Of course, we did play out the bullish divergence that we called out over the weekend. That is obviously not, you know, super relevant any longer, so I don't think that that is worth talking about here. What I think is worth talking about, however, and what is suggesting that we do have a range resolution today for the short-term time frames, which if it's to the upside, again, targets up somewhere around $50,000 is relevant, and if it's to the downside, well, that's probably going to be a range resolution, not just on the short-term time frames to the downside, but bleeds into the higher to the higher term time frames with big moves down towards $43,000 to $41,000 base. But we do see that 4-hour BBWP is on the lows right here, and that is typically a good setup for, you know, a nice move outside of the 4-hour range. And in this case, 4-hour range, again, 48 versus about 45.5 in this case. I'm curious what the buy-early says as well. Just, is there anything obvious over here? Again, RSIs on basically all the lower term timeframes are weak at best, I'd say. Maybe CME is showing a bit of a different look. Let's see. And actually it is, in fact. It is showing some bullish divergence come off the last low on the buy-early. What about the 4-hour? It actually has a regular drive of bullish divergence come off that one as well. So perhaps a bit of a short-term gap fill, anywhere back down around about mid $46,000 territory. And then the hopium is that you do get your bounce from there. And then the lower term time frame momentum also to switch back on up, and then you see that range resolution above $48,000. But other than that, you know, I actually do see potentially a good jewel buy signal in the 4-hour starting to formulate itself. It ain't there just yet, technically speaking. It's actually still a downside signal for what it's worth, but I'm trying to pick my bunghole for a bit of hopium, a little bit more of hopium going on over here as I do peruse the chart for something that's just, I'm looking for something that's super obvious, and I'm just not getting it just yet, unless if the most obvious thing is that the trend is to the downside, and well, the trend is your friend in this case. Now we do see, okay, I do see something over here on daily CME as well. That would be the third drive of bullish evidence, which could be confirmed as soon as tonight. But how would this be confirmed? Unfortunately, it doesn't really give us too much of an edge, to be fair, as we'd still need to see a short-term time frame range resolution, in this case, anywhere above Friday's wick high, which is 48,690, or I would say even a closure on a 4-hour basis above your short-term time frame range as well will very likely do it. You would have that third drive of bullish divergence, minimum targets towards 49,500, and technically speaking, you know, a lot of the time you will see a shot up towards your 55, so that'd be a bit more hoping right there, and that actually would put you back around your range highs. So ultimately, I don't feel like I'm being too damn helpful today, but I am a little bit just more tinted towards a Boolah-ish side short term. The reason being is you're beginning flows. You know, we're probably going to see a lot of price action around the time that U.S. markets open, which is in, I can't do my mental math right now, but I think about 7 hours from now, actually. So keep an eye out from that. You know, until then, I imagine that Bitcoin just grinds out the lows. If we get that gap fill on CME, I think that that's an obvious trade. If Bitcoin pops back above $48,000, I think that that's an obvious trade. Until then, you know, you're quite literally in the middle of no man's land as far as I'm concerned, with a little bit more, well, I won't even finish that sentence because I don't think it's relevant right now. I feel like we're kind of grasping at straws. Now, I do want to pull up a few other things as to why I do think that Bitcoin and just the market in general is a little bit more poised for an upside move here than a downside move. And it's actually not coming in from Bitcoin. It's coming in from one of the other major market names, and that is Ethereum, of course. And Ethereum does seem to have put in a nice low right here. And I imagine that we do have an ever so slight drive. Actually, no, we do not. What the fuck, man? No bullish evidence come off that last low. Well, at least you got a little bit of a short-term low. So I got that. At least we got that. And how would you confirm this one as a more, as a more formidable low? Still need to see above about 3850. 3850 would do it for me. And then yes, I would be extending targets back up somewhere around your 55 in this case, which is somewhere around, $4,000. Here's the thing though, $4,000 does not do shit for you on the long-term scales. Of course, the same area is still very much relevant here as it is on Bitcoin, and that would be 4130, the same area that we got rejected. Or not we, but Ethereum got rejected plenty of times in the past month, and back above there, I would be very, very confident in calling Ethereum macro bullish with in trending motion with targets up to $5,000 plus. Until then, still kind of playing out this range and fulfilling this, do you want to call this ascending channel? Do you want to call it a falling wedge? Don't care what you call it. Typically a reversal pattern, but in order to confirm it, the same thing still applies. Still need to trade back above that prior lower high, and that's, in this case, it is currently about 41.30. And typically what you do see with these things, just kind of speaking off the cuff here, typically what you do see with these things when you get a falling channel or a falling wedge is that when it is about to reverse, what you first get is not a higher high. What you first get is a higher low. So you'd probably do something like this, put in a higher low, and then flip back around your prior high. That is the high quality trade right there, at least in my experience. So I do kind of think that, you know, we're going to see the majority of the market pull back as Bitcoin does fulfill its gap. And then the question is that going to be the next higher low or not? If it's not, kiss this market goodbye for a while. Kiss this market goodbye for a while, as we kind of spoke about on yesterday's long-term analysis, which is still very much relevant. And I can just point you in that direction. So I think that's a good place to kind of end my early morning ceremonies. Perhaps we'll come back to this a little bit later. Ultimately, I don't think that there's anything like humongously mind-blowing about this price action just yet. At the end of the day, make it simple. Simplification is the name of the game. And, well, above 48, good for the short term. Below 45.5, bad. There you fucking go, man. And I think it's time for me to turn on the alerts over here. We got 1,500 people watching. I imagine it's probably a bit of a slow day. Still kind of a holiday season right here. It's all good, man. So I do appreciate all the people kind of joining in for the time being and spending your nice little first Monday of the new year with us. So let me just pull up the comments over here. Let's see what else has got ready for us right now. Oh, and Elsa says that she might have missed some of the super chats that were very, 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 very early. So if you did post a super chat that was extremely early, just tag her, let her know what the deal was, and then she can kind of shove it on over to me. All right, and then we can fire Elsa as well. All right, let me just make sure that I understand exactly who is first here, and I think it is. Okay, yeah, we can do the crow first. You know what, Mr. Willis? We'll do you first, man, just because we did miss you last week, and I do feel bad about that. It happens every once in a while, and of course, we just would appreciate a bit of understanding with that, of what you did, and that's amazing. So happy to do it over here. CRO, same shit as before. My LARP line's still working on this one. Not that they're necessarily meant to be perfect in this case, but ultimately, I do see that we have a bit of a higher low in the making going on right here. I actually would treat this one, again, as a long-term bullish consolidation, as long as it essentially remains about 54 cents. That is kind of where your higher lows come in and around. But just like Bitcoin below $52,000, can't really get excited about it right there. Need to see this one back above about 67 cents. That is where this one starts to really, look, I suppose, in a position of strength yet again. If we go down to the lower term time frames, as you did request, I would actually be looking for this one to put in a move back down towards your mid 50 cents, somewhere around about 55 to 56 cent, let's call it. And I would be looking for higher lows right around there. Again, kind of plays in line with Bitcoin pulling back into the early morning hours, somewhere around its closure on what we saw on Friday from the prior week, and then game on once again. That wouldn't really do anything for the higher term timeframes, obviously, and for right now, anywhere back down around there is just another higher low. If you're looking at the very low, if you're looking at the very long term timeframes, what I mean to be saying, not bad right here, obviously, not bad at all. Just I suspect it's going to take its time, as we've been saying. I think it's at minimum going sideways for a while. I imagine that we are starting to see volatility indicators cool off a little bit more. But here's the thing: when you see BBWP on a daily like this, all the way, in this case, it's right around about 40 percentile, which is, is coming down. It's trending down right here. But put this into context, you did hit extremes twice. You're very likely going to come down at minimum below 25 percentile, and probably, and more realistically, below about 10 percentile in a single digits before setting up for like a major range break. Until then, I think at best you're going sideways. And fair enough. I mean, this one's okay going sideways right here. Fuck, that reminded me though. There was something that I wanted to look at on Bitcoin as well, but I think my mind is not working properly today. What's going on here? Anyways, I see Ninja9. What's up, man? Hope you're well as well. Before you mentioned Elsa grew up in a forest. Is she an elf? She's kind of like an elf, like a bit of a forest elf thing, I think. She sounds she looks and sounds elvish. I've told her the same thing as well, man. When we were watching Lord of the Rings, I'm like, you belong in Rivendell. You are not. We're not the same. We're not the same. Like, I'm a human being. You're something else. Anyways, whoa! No, hey, you can't say that. You can't say. Hopefully, no one heard that. But that you can't fucking say that. Definitely not with your skin tone as well. I mean, Jesus Christ. All right, yeah, we got AAVE. You're looking at a daily and 4 hour cup and handle pattern upwards target. Is there a measured move? I mean, there is on a cup and handle, but is it a cup and handle first and foremost? No, it is not. Or hold on, let's go a little bit further out. No, this would not be an example of a cup and handle. No, but you do have a potential reverse going on right here, and that's kind of just simplifying stuff. You actually had if you wanted to be super exact with it, you actually had a bit of an inverted head and shoulders right here, which is fine. Again, this is why I don't really care to like call something a specific name. At the end of the day, it all comes down to trend is what it is. That's what all patterns actually get boiled down to, is trend. And in this case, you have a bit of a trend reversal. You got your first higher low right there. You obviously have higher highs right here. So what would I be looking for on this one in order to kind of judge if it's quote unquote good or not for the actual reversal? Well, where's the current high low coming in? 230, below 230. I do call this one a failure and coming back down to the current lows most likely. Now I remember what I was going to speak about on Bitcoin. Okay, completely whiffed that one, but we'll get back to it a little bit later. Anyways, if we go over here to a weekly, I do see a more long-term falling channel going on right here. Again, you know, it always boils down to trend, but basically it would be this. Just want to see this one back above the long-term, the 340-ish region, and that would be your macro breakout most likely. Until then, daily, obviously your daily 200 simple is coming in right around the descending trend line for that. So that would be a bit of an early indication for something like that, which means that, or implies that, any sort of a daily closure above $300 probably going to be a good sort of early indication of your macro breakout in this case. But until then, you know, well, until then, I mean, this one has a lot more good things going on it than bad things. You're about to get the silver cross going on, which I absolutely love. It's actually a big portion of my own strategies. And you do see that this is starting to consolidate into a declining volatility fashion, which is generally going to be a continuation of that trend. Shorter term time frames, like a 4 hour, are looking pretty damn good right here. I would be looking for this one to test around its $295 to $300 high short term. Again, that does not imply a resolution or a higher term time frame closing above there, but testing around there obviously gives us a chance to do that. So I am biased towards short term upside. I'm basically bullish on this one above about 230. Below 230, no longer bullish. Looking for a move down to 200 after that. Very likely a short-term bounce there with continuation down to about 175 lows after that. Until then, you know, if I had to call this one right now, I actually do think that it's kind of within the context of you know, of having a reversal. In fact, now that I look at it, the 5-day jewel is giving you a pretty damn decent signal right there. It's not like a perfect one, but it's pretty damn decent, at least for another try higher, which you know, just even a little bit higher, that will resolve it for me. So I think it's very, very close. Needs a little bit of help from Bitcoin, I do believe, but above $300, really fucking good. Very likely looking at moves towards your wick highs from the October rally right here at about $450 to $500 over time. Okay, I want to go back onto Bitcoin over here. Now, this is what I wanted to address because I completely whiffed on this topic. I want to go through the higher term timeframes because we've been seeing them slowly but steadily correct right here. And yes, this is what I was thinking that we might see. The 5-day stochastic momentum will actually turn back up with any sort of a closure above 50,200. And might I remind you that, again, the 5-day and weekly are still within uptrends. All time frames below that are within downtrends. For right now, we still have higher lows right here in comparison to the September higher lows at 40,000 bucks. So if we do start to see Bitcoin crawl back above about $50,000, again, that would be a bit of an early sort of warning or early sort of indication that Bitcoin is going to bust on through $52,000 and initiate targets back up towards, you know, basically $58,000 to $59,000. Why is that? Because if we go back on over here, yeah, this was the whole fucking point I wanted to make. We will have hidden bullish evidence confirmed on 5-day and weekly, which technically speaking, you already got a weak drive in there right now. This is not a strong one. It really needs to get back above $52,000 in order for that to be like a strong indication. Until then, I do not play these indications myself for what it's worth. I need to have a range resolution alongside momentum oscillators pointing in, you know, and giving some sort of a tangible signature. Anyways, I'll move on now as I'm just talking to myself, and apologies on that, probably annoying. Can you do the Alonzo Vega says Evergrande news? Don't know how bad it is. I really don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. Yes, it does matter. Yes, it will. Yes, you know, these sort of narratives do get played upon. But at the end of the day, man, unless you're an insider in it, you know, in that whole venue, it's very difficult to make much out of it. And typically, when you start to hear a lot of this sort of shit on the news, it's usually very, 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 very close to the end of the effect. So I don't know if there actually was any news with it. You know, from what I understood, like the whole defaulting sort of question got resolved in, I think, latest at December, maybe it was November, and we kind of already seen the result from that. So I just don't think that I mean, like, how do you get a fucking edge from something that you can't, like, you know, make a plan around? That's my whole issue with that. Maybe could do a better job of explaining it as well. Not on my game today, man. Not on my fucking game today, but we'll do Mr. Nate Green next. He says Jewel versus AVEX. Okay. So this is the name. This is not the indicator, but you're talking about this thingy over here on, I guess, Trader Joe or Pangolin, and very fucking good. Whatever the hell this thing is. Really, 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 really good. So you're on a 15-minute and an hourly. Okay. I mean, it doesn't really have much history right here, but obviously it is good for its current history. Yes, you do have a bunch of drives of bearish divergence on the hourly right here, so I am probably looking for this one to pull back. But you know, when you see a chart like this, I'm just looking for it to pull back into a higher low. I think a more aggressive estimate of a higher low would be about 16.5 cents, at least a bounce there, very, very likely. If this one does get shellacked alongside, you know, Bitcoin pulling back to the gap fill at about 46.3, 46.4, you're probably looking at a move at minimum towards about 15 cents. Again, I'd say the same thing there. Extremely strong chance of a bounce. If you're on the short-term time frames, like a 15-minute, as you did request. Again, I'm looking for next move down, 16.75 or so, looking for a bounce there. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. I would not say that that bounce is likely to be a reversal. I would not be using a 15-minute to judge general direction on something like this. Even the 4-hour is starting to get pretty, you can kind of use the 4-hour right here. The 4-hour is starting to get pretty damn hot. We do see 4-hour RSI technically doesn't have bearish divergence, but you know, it's been a straight shot up, and we do see that volatility is actually incredibly high here as well. Again, I think that this one's going to spend a little bit of time consolidating a little bit lower. Tentatively speaking, I do think that you actually will come all the way down somewhere around low 15 cent before you do try for your next sort of major low. But if you're on the very, very short-term timeframes, I guess that's not relevant to you. So I just wanted to be a little bit more thorough with that one, because you're very likely going to see a bounce of those regions. Problem is, I don't think that bounce is going to be a reversal. I think that this one eventually comes down somewhere around 15 cents at minimum, and goes into a bit of a contraction phase for a while. I mean, it's, you know, it's generally been straight up right there. All right, cool. Oh, Mr. IM516. Holy fuck, man. What's up, old friend? What's up, dude? It's good to see you, man. Holy shit. It's been a long time. Anyways, you're looking at Bitcoin on the bi-monthly. Is there bearish divergence? Okay, let's go check it out over here. I'm going to guess that there probably is. There certainly was on the regular monthly. And do we have it right here? Yes, we would have it right there. We do have a lower high on the RSI. We do have a higher high on price action. But here's the thing. When you see bearish divergence where the highs are this close to each other, it usually isn't one of the very, very strong ones that gets you down to like the 21 or especially the 55. I would not feel comfortable calling either one of those. I would say at max the 21 in this case. But typically speaking, when you see that the peaks are this close to each other in comparison to like this one versus this one over here, you're typically going to at least correct down to about the 9 exponential moving average, which is basically the low $40,000 territory. So which would still kind of play into the prior analysis that, hey, you know, we do see a lot of things that are still in a little bit more of a short-term you know, questionative state, we'll say, that certainly allows for a move down somewhere around about $41,000 to $43,000 wick lows from December, early December, that is. But here's also the thing, Mr. IAMs, is that you do have hidden bullish evidence potentially forming on the other side. But same sort of, you know, narrative on this one as well. But we are already, or not we, the bi-monthly for Bitcoin, better said, is already creating lower lows on bi-monthly RSI. And technically speaking, you got higher lows on this one as long as you're above about $35,000, $36,000. So this one could very easily come down to $41,000 or $42,000, put in a bit of a higher low right there, play at the hidden bullish evidence. And well, that would be the more hopium-inspired view of this one leading into probably end of this quarter, I would imagine. But yeah, you are 100% right. It's just my sort of my sort of interpretation or experience with this one. When you do see it this close, you typically don't get down to like the very you know, the deeper targets that you typically look for on a divergence call like that. In this case, I think the 9 exponential moving average is a little more relevant for a target on that one. And hope all is well, man. It's been a long time, dude. I know that you're the fucking traveling man, so I just wonder what country you're in at this point. You're like Karash, actually, man. Both of you guys are just fucking world people of the world. Anyways, let me just pull back on over here, and we have Mr. Jake Anderson. He says Ethereum, Bitcoin, 4-hour and 6-hour. 6 hours bullish divergence. 4-hour close above the 8 million Satoshi breakdown level. Okay, that wasn't really a breakdown level for me. The 7.8 million Satoshi was the major area, but we can certainly go over to it here if I can find it on my charties. And there she is. Let's see. I'm still bullish on this chart, man. Wow, that couldn't have been more perfect. Holy shit. Jack, are you here right now, Mr. Jack Asseman? That couldn't have been more fucking perfect. Look, technical analysis is not that good. That's funny. Anyways, I want to record this one because this is actually still among the best charts in my opinion. All right, here we have Ethereum versus the Bitcoin pairing. We might do a brief outlook on the US dollar pairing as well, but ultimately this one did correct all the way down to our 7.8 million Satoshi targets and did bounce off there pretty much perfectly. Now, it doesn't always work this well, I will say, so I want to be very directly clear with that, but I do like this as a major low right now. You do have your next higher low coming in, or presumably your next higher low coming in around the 55, which is good. And we did see this all coming on declining volatility as the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing does, you know, essentially just continue on with the long-term uptrend. And we do see hidden bullish evidence on the daily kind of formulated right there. Imagine 5-day is not really giving us much, but I do like this for a higher low. And would we have potential hidden bullish evidence there? No, we would not. So I'm guessing the weekly certainly wouldn't have it either. So fair enough. It's kind of the same thing goes here too. I'm still bullish on this one, especially as long as you're above 7.8 million Satoshis. That means that it is naturally an invalidation point on a daily closure. Below there, I do look for this one to correct heavily. Still somewhere down around about the 7.3 to 7.4 million Satoshi region at minimum. Until then, I'm bullish. And I'm actually looking at this one as about to resolve its short and medium term timeframes relatively soon. Let me get rid of my LARP lines, even though funnily enough they're actually working, which is, they're not intended to work like that. Just I mainly use them as a fucking joke because I think it's bullshit. but basically this right here, any sort of a 4-hour closure above your 8.1 bit, let's just call it 8.13 million highs. I am looking for this one to have another move back up at short term towards about 8.3 million highs. 8.3 right here is what I'm trying to say. And then very likely does, get another continuation test on your higher term timeframes towards your overall range highs at about 8.5 million Satoshis. Above there, this one's in breakout mode again. Sorry, not breakout mode, but trending mode yet again, where I do look for at minimum another test towards your prior all-time high, just below about 9 million Satoshis. And then very likely does play out the same move that we've been looking for here for a while, just, taking its time at about 9.5 million Satoshis with long-term continuation implied. Here's the thing though, all higher term timeframes bullish. If we go over here to the bi-monthly, closed on new highs in this rally. Yes, we can see corrections. I mean, we can still see corrections down to 7.3, 7.4 if the prior invalidation conditions are met, but I'm not going to be bearish on a chart that looks like this. It's quite good. Long term, I still think that this one's going above 1.1 to 1.2 million Satoshis before the next like major correction. I expect that this one's going to have a very, very good Q1 of 2022. Same thing on the quarterly right here as well. And if we go to the 6 month, let's just see. 6 month also pretty damn decent here too. In fact, even closing above the prior shattering range. So to me, that is a long-term macro breakout, but that being a 6 month can obviously take a long time as well. So let's go back down to the shorter term timeframes over here respectively. And again, kind of wrap this one up. Daily Jewel is a bit of a signal that's been going on since the 1st of January. So only a few days old right there. Volatility is very, very low right here. So this is typically a pretty damn good setup for that Jewel signal alongside daily RSI rejecting the bearish control zone. And basically Trend is your friend in this case. So just be aware of where the invalidation is. If we go over here, I imagine most things are probably going to be turning up. This will just be a bit of a secondary sort of confirmation, but I'm just curious to see what the 5 days looking like right now. We'll turn back up above about 8.5 million Satoshis. So yes, we do see that area would be a bit of a range resolution plus momentum turning up. So that would be relevant for the macro. So I don't think that you're going to be, resolving the macro just yet here, but by the way, the 2-day Stokes are going to be turning up above 809, which are currently above right now. Daily is also freshly turning up above 7.8 million Satoshis. So I do still like that majorly as an invalidation point. 12 hours just fucking vertical above 7.9. 4-hour short-term timeframes are, still with upside momentum, but I suspect that you do pull back short-term to be fair, because, it is a bit, it's just your first test of the range highs after being away from them for a while. Very likely to pull back. What you're looking for after that is higher lows. And if you get a higher low, let's call anywhere around about 8 million Satoshis, that's going to look pretty damn good. Now let's briefly go over to Ethereum versus the dollar here as well, just because I do want to do it. I do want to do it a little bit more of its due diligence right here. Now, if you are bullish on this one, you're looking at this as yet again another falling channel or falling wedge. I mean, you can kind of chart it both ways to be fair. Both bullish reversal patterns, similar to what you saw back on over here as well in the last major reversal that you saw in September, of course. I'm talking about this one right. Wait, no, not that one. Apologies. This one right here is what I'm talking about. And then of course the one before that was this one over here, a much more mega one going on, but hey, that was the summer obviously. And so it kind of has a bit of a history of doing these sort of reversal formations. Here's the thing though, in order to confirm this as a reversal, it won't happen until you get at minimum one of two things. First things first, you probably want to see a higher low. In this case, anywhere around there would be, or anywhere above 3,600 is fair game for that. Doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to come back down again, but the most important thing is getting back above your last lower high. The same thing that we've been speaking about for the past, like pretty much all of December. 41,030, not 41,000, but 4130 is a magical number right there. If you do surpass that level, I would be looking for short-term targets back up towards your prior highs of this consolidation, which is about 46 to 4,800, and then very likely continuation implied towards your, I'm guessing towards 5,000 plus. Let's just briefly kind of chart this, assuming that this is the low right here. Again, that doesn't mean that it can't come back down around there, but yeah, I'd be looking at targets towards about 5,400 if that were the case. And I imagine that Ethereum versus the dollar, as far as momentum oscillators are going, is maybe turning in the same direction. Short-term timeframes are doing what? Getting up there, 37.87, the magical number on the 4 hour. Let's go to the 12 hour right here. 12 hours showing upside above about 3,700, so that's generally good, seeing as you're trading $100 above that right now. Daily is also showing 3660, so that is suggesting that we very well might likely have that reversal in progress here. By daily, same thing, above 39 actually, so does need to travel a little bit more, and then I imagine the 5-day and the weekly are still corrective at best here. Yeah, 4,300 versus 4,430 or so. So not too, I'm not too bullish on the higher term timeframes just yet. I think that they're still corrective at best, but short term timeframes, I'm looking for a higher low anywhere above 3,600. That's going to be the next sort of major thing to be looking for, of course. And then of course your full on confirmation of bullish breakout towards, basically 5,400 plus probably over time, is above about 4,100, 4,130, we'll say. Same thing as before. Until then, short term timeframes like a 4 hour right here. Do we see anything that's obvious? Not really. If I am going to be charting that short-term time frames like a 4 hour, I would say that your short-term time frame range is resolved to the upside above 3830 on a 4 hour closure, and I would be looking for this one to officially test the descending trend line that we do have coming in from the highs, which is not made for a 4 hour. If we were to do it for this, it'd be somewhere around about 3950, and then you can imagine that all of the momentum oscillators that we looked at earlier, they're going to start showing up at the same time as well. The question is, at least in my opinion, it's like, do we do something like this, set in a higher low and then pop up, or does it try something like this, hit that region right there, then go for a higher low, wedge itself in, and then go for it? That would be kind of the bullish view on this one. The bearish view is that you keep on doing the same, which is going down. Which there's good reason to believe that. I mean, the trend is your friend, and the trend ain't reversing until you're back above about 4130, at least at current moment. So hopefully that was helpful, and there you go for Ethereum, sir. Nice one, man. Sweet. A little bit longer than maybe what I should have done. Yes, that was Jake Anderson right there. Okay, let me just plop this one up over here, and let's see. I think we have Mr. Is it Tyrion Lannister? Yeah, it is Tyrion Lannister next. Wow, you are amazing in that show, man. Good morning, sir. Good morning to you as well. Can you please give me your insights on the confirmed regular bearish evidence on Bitcoin monthly RSI? Yeah, it's kind of what we referenced earlier with IAMs. Okay, I'll get to that one right after this. But basically, yes, bearish divergence was confirmed on the monthly RSI. Absolutely, no doubt about that. Problem is, you already played out the very easy move towards the 9 exponential moving average on this one. If you are looking for the next target, or at least the next target that I typically look for, I'm looking for a wick down somewhere around the 21 in this case. And I'd say that this is, good enough, distance between these two peaks right here, where that is relevant. So if Bitcoin does break down, looking for moves with maybe even wicks down below $40,000 territory are relevant, yes. And again, we can go over the hash ribbons indicator, which I did do over this past weekend as to the relevancy of that region. But ultimately, you already played out the easy move for this one. The next target, would be about $38,000. How does that target get? Well, maybe not 38, more like $39,000, $40,000, which is pretty much range lows. Anyways, how would you confirm that? Again, it all boils back to the same shit. And this is why I like, the more and more that I get into this, the more and more that I just think that simplification is the name of the game. Look, below about 45,500, yeah, I'm looking for that move to happen. That kind of be the actionable step, at least in the way that I look at things, for that as a reasonable target for what it's worth. Cool, man. Okay, so we got Mr. Jack next. Says, morning, Krown. Hey, good morning to you as well. Happy New Year to you as well, sir. MATIC. Okay, yeah, we should definitely check out MATIC. Yeah, I'm curious actually what MATIC's doing. Okay, let's pull it up over here. MATIC, what are you doing? This one, we should record this one as well. Actually looking a little bit more corrective short term. All right. Here we have Polygon symbol MATIC versus the dollar. Of course, I want to focus on the higher term timeframes first here, just because, it is a new year. We have a new monthly and new higher term timeframes all the way around. And we know what is the general outlook on this one. It's fucking bullish, man. It's the technical term for it. We do have a new all-time closing high on the monthly right here. Here's the thing though. This does not mean that shorter term timeframes can't correct down, presumably somewhere around about 220-ish, let's call it, with still remaining, good posturing for the long term. So if we go down to the daily over here, yeah, you are in a bit of a short-term corrective phase. I would be looking at 240 as still the same pivot that we had from last week, or 241 on a daily closure. I do look for this one to initiate corrections down somewhere between about 215 to 220-ish region, and then I'll just be looking for higher lows right around there. Again, all higher term timeframes are bullish. So that tells me that on the next pullback, I'm just looking for a higher low. Technically speaking, weekly, I imagine probably has some bearish evidence, but a very slight drive of it. Yeah, it does. So again, the general target for me would be somewhere around the 9, which is actually that 2.25 region. So anywhere around there is fine. Below 220, yeah, you got some problems and probably do start to initiate tests down to $2 even. I don't think that's too relevant for right now. Ultimately, this is still long-term bullish. I'm just looking for this one to probably trade down to about 220. Try for a higher low right there, and then party on maybe like later in this in this coming month. If you're on the short-term time frames, like a 4 hour, what do we see? Very likely to test your range lows at 241 or so. Does it break it or not? I mean, look, you have hidden bearish evidence right here. You got very low volatility. You got lower highs the whole way through. I'm probably looking for this one to a minimum test your 241-ish region. If you break below there, then yes, I'm looking for that move towards about 220 to 215, and very likely a bounce there. And the bullish view is that you will see a higher low there, which I kind of subscribe to be fair. Let's maybe just briefly check out the bi-monthly, just out of curiosity, just to see. Yep, still, I mean, I don't know if I'd say that that's necessarily, I mean, that is just a vertical chart is what it is. Yeah, pretty fucking crazy right there. Pretty fucking crazy, but maybe a 5-day will give us something. Same shit as the weekly, to be fair. Yeah, bi-daily, same shit as well. So ultimately, you can kind of see how those range resolutions go. Still long term, probably even sometime this quarter, I imagine, you will very likely see 330 before the next like major correction. In major correction, I mean by suggesting that there's probably going to be, at least a few weeks of consolidation after that, maybe a little bit more. And then very, very long term, do I typically see macro highs at the 1.618? Almost never. Typically where I will see them is somewhere around the 2.414, the 2.618, which is actually quite deep. So long term, maybe around end of this quarter or perhaps later this year, still looking at about $7 to $8 for what it's worth, but that is very, 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 very far away. Short term, it is corrective, however. And let's just maybe briefly check it out from this angle here. I'm just curious if they also agree with short term downside, because that'll make this a lot simpler. Weekly will turn down below about 230. Okay, interesting, but not relevant for a short term. 5 days turning down below 260. Okay, that's not great for the short term. Daily is also down below about 266. Okay, still looking corrective. 12 hour down below 250, which you are currently about 1.5 cents below. 4 hour 251 magical number, and hourly is flippy floppy at 248. It's actually not too consistent right there, so fair enough. I guess I'd still get a chance at 241, but below there, yeah, looking for that next correction. Still, again, just looking for higher lows. Long term, one of the better charts, or among the best charts that we're probably going to see today. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Polygon, sir. Now, so man, that was Jack, sir. That was Jack. And now we got Jack Jansen, near UST. Okay, let's check this one out right here. Near USD 4 hour. Okay. All right. Hope you have a good week as well, sir. Binance, and what do we have? Again, still one of the better charts overall. You got your big bad breakout to end the year, but I am looking for this one just like MATIC and just like Ethereum and just like Moses Market to trade down short term, probably somewhere around about $13 or so, and try for a higher low there. Do we see anything that's obvious over here? Yeah, again, I'm just looking for a bit of a short-term correction phase. If you do lose, let's say, that last higher low at about 12.35, I would be extending corrective targets a little bit further south towards 11.35, just $1 further south from that. And I'm still looking for higher lows right there. Basically, what I want to see is I want to see it test somewhere around either 13 or 1130 alongside daily BBWP coming down at minimum below about 25% off. If you see something like that, especially if you start to get hidden bullish evidence, which you do not have right now, actually. So again, I'm leaning towards short-term correction. At least for the short term, then I'll be interpreting that as a higher low. I only get bearish on this one below about $11 on a daily closure. Until then, just looking for pullbacks into higher lows here. If you're specifically asking about a 4 hour, which I know that you are, yeah, I'm looking for this one to trade a little bit further south, short term. Yes. Let's see. Do we see any sort of potential setup over here? Yeah. Probably coming back down to about 1355, 1360-ish region. Let me just briefly go over here as well, because I think that this might be helpful in this particular case. Hourly, not really giving me too much. We'll turn back above 1410, which you're currently ever so slightly below, but not by much. 4 hour turns back above, turns up back above 1443. What about a daily? Yeah, daily's a little bit more corrective here. So again, I'm looking for this one to probably retest around range lows. Personally speaking, I actually do think that it will fall down a little bit further south. Before trying for a higher low about 1130 for what it's worth. But that's just personal opinion. I would still be playing the ranges. And long term, again, still pretty damn good. I mean, this is not a bearish weekly, obviously. This is quite good, in fact. So I would be looking for this one to long term still make its way towards, I don't know, around 18, 20 bucks or so before the next major correction. Cool. All right. So we got through that one. We got through that one. Raj Nali is next. Let me pull him up over here. There he is. I see you, sir. ALBT. Sure. 4-hour daily weekly. Yeah, I remember you asked about this one a lot in the last quarter. Let's see where this one is now on KuCoin. Pretty good here on the weekly, actually. I do actually look at this one as setting in your first major weekly low in a long time. Yeah, let's actually redo this chart for right now, for the weekly specifically, which I think, yeah, you did ask about. Okay, cool, because this is just the most obvious one right here. I'm actually looking for this one to trade back up towards around your 91 to maybe even $1 highs. Where do I get bullish on this one and say that the consolidation is resolved and this one's ready for, a retest of your all-time highs at about 140 and probably new all-time highs? I think the earliest area that I'd actually get bullish on this one would be right here at about 90 cents or so. If you want to go by the book, then you'd be looking at about 120. Above there, I'm looking for, retest of your all-time highs at 140, very likely new all-time highs after that. And again, this one actually has a pretty damn good setup right here. You got your first higher low right here. You took out the range highs on the short term. You're seeing volatility tick up. I'm biased towards this one continuing short term on the daily, that is, up somewhere around about 85 to 90 cents or so. And then if you do start to close above that region, well, I'd extend those targets yet again. But for right now, yeah, daily is certainly up. Full hour could very easily trade back down towards 67 cents. I don't think that that's too problematic. I mean, you do see a little bit of bearish evidence forming, very, very slight amount on the 4-hour RSI, so it probably does pull back relatively soon. But again, I'm just looking for a higher low right there. This one actually has a decent-ish setup, especially compared to a lot of the other things that we've seen today. 5-day, pretty damn good here as well. Any sort of a closure above 70 cents in the next 3 days, then I would be looking for this one to, at minimum, test 90 cents. And then probably does push on through there. I mean, this is okay. I mean, it's just an altcoin that doesn't have too much history, so hard to make much out of it other than that. But I really like this chart over here. Daily Joule actually has pretty much a perfect signal. You got the DMI supporting, you got a pretty much perfect signal from the classic way of using it, and then also my volatility way of using it is also giving a fresh one as well as of yesterday. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I'm very much biased towards this one testing around 90 cents first. Probably does push through after a bit of a short-term pullback, and then we come back to it after that. So it just kind of depends on what time frame that you're most concerned with. Anyways, let me pull back on over here, and I think that we have Dawn Kadik. Yes, it is Dawn. Nice. You're looking at HTR, 4-hour and daily. Okay. HTR, USD. I'm looking for the motherfucking exit. Okay, cool. So it sounds like you're already long. Not the one that I'd actually personally be looking for an exit on. I mean, this is pretty good. I am looking for this. Okay, again, it depends what time frame you're on. So you're looking at a 4-hour and daily. The problem is when you look at a 4-hour and daily, they're going to be massively different analyses. Now, the 4-hour, I'm still looking at this one as in trending motion, very likely going to test around just below $2 or so. Here's the thing, though. If I'm just trading the 4-hour, I kind of have to take profit around there. If I'm trading the daily, I'm looking at this as a major reversal in progress, and probably looking at this one to test to trade back up towards 260 plus, in the next couple of weeks here. So what would essentially confirm that? Well, if you're looking at the 4-hour right here, looking for a move back around your $2 highs or so, any sort of a closure above there, even on a 4-hour dildo. And yes, I would be looking for at minimum a retest of your like 2.25 highs. And then personally speaking, I do think that you would gun for the 1.618 extension in this case, because here's the thing. I need to ask about a weekly, but I mean, the weekly trend might just be your friend. I don't really see any reason to. I mean, again, you have to trade your own strategies and whatnot, but where does this one start to fall apart? Even from like a 4-hour basis, below about 170, I'd say that this gets invalidated as a short-term bullish setup. On a daily, it gets invalidated obviously below about 160. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends what time frame you're looking at. If you're on a 4-hour, you're probably going to be a lot more appropriately taking profit relatively soon. If you're on a daily, you might think of holding out a little bit longer. But again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just kind of perusing around the different time frames right here. But most higher-term time frames I like, man. If you look at a monthly, let's just see. Not really getting much from that. Maybe we could go check it out over here. I mean, maybe there's something that I'm completely missing on the shorter term time frames that could destroy this analysis. But 4-hour turns back above 187. Okay, interesting. But Okay, hourly probably pulls back here. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. 190, probably coming back down to about 175, 180 even or so. Don't know if that's relevant to you though. It's kind of very short-term time frame. Daily, however, and this is where things become a little more clear to me. We do see daily stocks turning up above 174. Volatility very, 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 very low here as well. So, you know, assuming that it doesn't just crash down another like 10 cents, which is kind of a lot for a 180 number. Well, I'm probably looking for general continuation over the next couple weeks, back above $2 or so. So yeah, short-term time frame is going to ebb and flow here, obviously, but personally speaking, I just have a little bit of patience with this one. I don't really see any real reason to look at this one as a failure as long as it's above about 160, but maybe that's relevant for you. Maybe it's not. I don't know where you entered. Anyways, cool. I should show my baby Yoda. Yes, we've added a new creature into this household. We have baby Yoda here protecting my phones. Can you see him? You probably can't see him. He's got my phone right here. He's doing a really good job, actually. And Elsa, I should let you know that Elsa is actually the biggest fan of Star Wars now because of this little creature. So we got Gandalf and we have Yoda going on over there. Beautiful, man. Fucking beautiful. Keeping the cave safe. I need to get rid of my own mug because it's time for some water over here, and I already killed all my coffee. So apologies on that. Let me just switch on over and let's see what we have next. Ricky, okay, let me just, I think he's like, yeah, he's right there. Got him. Merci, Mr. Krown. Merci, mon ami. Please, Luna UST. Okay, I think that just means Luna versus the dollar versus the derper. Daily, weekly, got it. So higher term time frames. This one is actually very much worth recording as well. Here we have Terra Luna, symbol LUNA versus the dollar. We're going to be looking at higher term time frames. Actually, we're just going to do a general overview on this one because it's one of the more interesting charts. Closed on new ultimate highs for the monthly, very, very powerful, and I would be expecting new ultimate highs in Q1 of 2022. The question is it going to very likely happen sooner rather than later? If we go over here to the weekly, bullish on this one as well. Still bullish on this one. 5-day bullish as well. Now we could very easily have corrections back down to the 80 or so dollar region. I don't think that's asking for too much, to be fair. If we go over here to the daily, however, that is not very likely. In fact, we've held once again on our 81 level. Kind of fucking crazy, man. That is a very, very aggressive correction, but hey, we do have a good setup right here. We have higher lows coming on declining volatility. And well, it's moving certainly across your 4-hour time frame range highs. So I know you didn't ask about this, but I do think that it's rather interesting right here. Anyways, your next sort of short-term area to be aware of would be about 92.85 above there on a 4-hour closure. I do look for this one to retest into your $98, $99 highs from before. And I remain bullish on this one more aggressively, actually, and probably looking for this one to print new highs sooner rather than later. I guess it sounds kind of crazy, but as long as we're above about $81 base, below $81 base, I'm actually still bullish on it long term. I'm just looking for corrections down to about $70 or so, and then come back to it after that. Until then, I mean, this one's trending on all time frames. I mean, even the fucking 4-hour is strong right here. 4-hour, very, very low BBWP. All momentum also is pointed northwards. Dare I say this one probably does push on through, man. Powerful chart, among the best. Let's go over here and just see if momentum oscillators are on the same side. Again, they can kind of help with being a little bit more aggressive or not. 12 hours is going to be up as long as above 84, basically $85, which are currently more than like $5-6 above as of the current moment. So good. Daily will also turn up above about 94 and simultaneously play out a trendline test right. Oh, I guess I already have it in there. We'll play at a trendline test right here. So I would keep that number in mind. $94 on a daily. 5-day, I'm guessing we're still vertical. Yep, pretty much 75. Looking good right there. Weekly also up above 88, 82 freshly, by the way, I might add. So all of this is aligning with, you know, another drive towards new highs. I'd still be looking for even a short-term time frame resolution. And then, yes, I'm looking for a move somewhere right around about $100 again. I imagine you see short-term time frames pull back. And then longer term, you know, let's say maybe around end of January, early February, perhaps. Probably looking for that move up towards about 120 to $130. Again, invalidation on your daily and higher term timeframes is going to be short term below $81 on a daily closure. Again, that doesn't necessarily destroy this one. Like as far as a bullish setup long term, I would just be looking for corrections down to $70 after that, $70 after that. Until then, I'm pretty much bullish on all time frames. The question is, do we bust on through right here, right now, or does it take a little bit more of a time with maybe one more higher low at about $84? I don't have a strong opinion on that. My strong opinion is on the long-term time frames here, of which all of them are bullish, sir. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Terra Luna. my friend. Nice, man. Okay. I think we have Vin124 next. He says, can you do Axie Infinity, please? I can do it, but I don't know what fucking time frames you're looking at, and I don't know what do it means, man. Like, make love to it? I'm gonna make love to the charts. Okay, what are we looking again? I don't know what time frame we're looking at, man. I'm making love to these charts, baby. Come here and get your fucking love in action on the daily. I think it's the same thing as before. I probably charted this one on a weekly before. Yeah, what do you know? Same thing on a weekly. If we do it for a daily, it's gonna be slightly different. Not by much, but a little bit. But a little bit right here. I'd be using this low end at $90 as a bit of a base. Until then, I do see that you are starting to formulate something resembling a bit of a higher low right there. No, you do not have hidden bullish evidence, and volatility is, I'd say, in a little bit more of a low state. But ultimately, you know, just as Bitcoin below $52,000 is hard to get excited about, same thing with Axie Infinity below 110. Now, personally speaking, I do think that it will bust on through at least short term and test around $100. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not, because I don't know what fucking time frames you're looking at. But again, you know, easy to watch Bitcoin as far as as far as general direction. I'm curious if momentum oscillators over here have already fully corrected for Axie specifically, which we can maybe put that one on. Weekly's coming all the way down 134, so still a little bit more corrective on the higher term time frames. Don't think that this one's ready to like trend towards new highs just yet. 5 days fully corrected pretty much towards about 109. So I would keep that number in mind. 2 day will turn back above up above about 96.5. Daily will turn back up above 96.5 as well. So I do like the I do like that number for right now. 4 hours 93.50. Yeah, I actually do think that this one will push through very likely from here. Look, I have to be bullish on something like this as long as you're above $90. I mean, this is about as clean and clear as the chart gets. Below $90, yeah, look for corrections down to $70. Pretty big move on a $90 number, obviously. But for right now, I look at this as a basing format. And if we go down to the very short-term timeframes, may you see one more move towards like $92 or $91. Definitely possible. But again, I don't know if that's relevant towards you. I'm generally looking for this one to trade sideways and up from this region, something like this. If I had to guess, let me just get out my painter's brush, maybe one more test down around your lows, plot back in around there. This is your big area right here above there. Good, very, very good. Very likely looking at moves towards 130 to 150 over the following weeks, and then probably just long-term continuation from there. I mean, again, this is among the best charts that we've seen over the past year. Was obviously correcting for a more prolonged time than most of the charts near the end of the year, but that's fine when you're doing shit like this for 90% of the year. I mean, that's, again, it's probably one of the best performers in 2021. So I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt here. It's not even the benefit of the doubt. I'm just generally gonna be bullish on something that has been generally bullish, obviously. Cool. Jacob Green is next. Let me find his name. Where are you, Jacob? Where the fuck are you, man? Oh, they're right there. Okay. Jacob Green says Dixie, 1 day, weekly, and 3 month. Actually, I meant to look at this on yesterday's video, but the video was already like 45 minutes long, so didn't work out too well right there. Okay, so you're looking at daily, weekly, and quarterly is what you are looking at. Monthly. Oh, you didn't even say monthly, but I expect that all higher term time frames is going to be relevant on this one. Okay, monthly is very interesting. So you are finding a couple of wick sell-offs from your prior major breakdown at about 97.33. When I see something like that, it's more likely to correct first and try for a higher low before giving another try towards the upside. Let's see if the weekly agrees with that. Yeah, probably back down to 95, but daily, same thing as well. A little bit of a short-term, very, very short-term breakdown, not relevant for the daily ranges. Below, I guess I still have it in here, 95.50, still the same area that we had plotted out from before. Below there, I do look for this one to initiate a move at minimum down to $95 even. Yes, I am biased towards that happening right here. If we go over to the monthly, I imagine we do have hidden bearish evidence? No, actually, no, we do not. So that doesn't really help right there. Maybe the quarterly will also help out with a general analysis on this one. Come on, quarterly, show me. Yeah, quarterly is still long-term bullish, but probably does correct down a little bit below $95 first. So, does that benefit most assets that trade against the dollar? Probably yes, but again, understand that Dixie is not the absolute value of the dollar. It's the value of the dollar relative to a basket of other fiat currencies, mostly weighted by, like 50% weighted by the euro dollar. So, I do think that you pull back here, probably to start off this year, but I cannot be long-term bearish on a chart that looks like this. And when I say long-term, I mean like, you know, 6 months down the road. I'm just looking for corrections down to $95 short term. Very likely does come back down around there. But I'm probably looking for higher lows right there, man. I'm not going to be bearish on this chart until it's below $95 specifically on a monthly closure. I just think that you come down around and test there and presumably try for a higher low first and foremost. If that fails, then yeah, I'd be happy to be bearish on it. But for right now, I'm just looking for short-term downs. Yes, I can extend it to long-term downs, but for right now, yeah, I'm not going to be bearish on that long term. Just a short term move back down somewhere just below about $95. Let's say in a range between about 94.50 to 95 even or so. Maybe we actually just briefly go over here. I'm just curious if, whoops, don't need the damn USD right there. There we go. All right, lovely. Let's go to a monthly, and what do we see? Yeah, monthly actually is getting kind of up there, but not turning down anytime soon. 92 and 12 is a magical number. What about a quarterly? Imagine quarterly is bullish. It is freshly crossing up above 92. Oh dear lord. Oh dear lord. Yeah, and weekly's coming down. So again, short-term corrective on, you know, relative to the higher term timeframes, very likely comes down at least to 95, probably even a little bit lower than that. Long term, still have to be kind of bullish on that one, I do guess, but that's coming in later this year, I suspect, at minimum, and you know, things can change between then. Cool. We got Bryce Pinkos next. He says, Joe USD on Trader Joe 1.4 and daily, please, good sir. Have you watched the Book of Boba Fett yet? I saw it on the streaming service there, but I don't know what it is. Do you recommend? I'm guessing you do if you're calling it out. Like what is it? Dare I ask? What is it? All right, Joe on a daily, completely unhelpful chart. This has basically no price action information. So let's go to the exchange that you specified, and this is better, but not for the chart itself. Not for the fucking chart itself, man. Kind of breaking down right there, to be fair. Now you are still, I mean, you're pretty much at the last chance for love as far as I'm concerned, that being about 175. So if you are bullish, you are looking like this is kind of the point of maximum financial opportunity. But that doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to work out. It just means that you have an invalidation that's very, very close, which would again be below about 175 on a daily closure. If that level is invalidated, I'm looking for this one to come down to about 150. Until then, do I treat this one as a potential higher low in the making right here? It's hard to make much out of this chart. It looks like it barely trades, so it's very difficult to trust like extremely illiquid assets. But I suppose I'd be looking at least for a short-term time frame bounce of this region again. Where can that bounce likely come in around? Anywhere back up to 190, maybe even $2. But as far as the medium and higher term time frames go, this one is corrective at best as long as you're below about 212. So the bullish view here is that you're going to try for a bit of a bounce. That bounce doesn't just bring you up to about $2. It brings you above your 210 region, and then I guess it looks okay again. But for right now, this one is, well, I guess I'd give it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it has been pretty good for a lot of its history, but man, that is not the place where you want to see rejection. And the weekly honestly looks like it's going to fall on through. Look, if I'm shooting you straight, yeah, there's a little bit of hoping where you currently are at. But personally speaking, you know, just based off the weekly, I think that this one's coming down to like a buck and a quarter, maybe in a buck even, in the next few months here. For what it's worth. I know that's a little bit harsh statement right there, but all higher term timeframes are not looking great. This is distribution right here, barring any sort of like major, massive, girthy green dildo in the next 5 days at latest, back above about 250. And again, that is hopium. That is hopium by definition. And I imagine that the death nail would be seeing any sort of a medium time frame momentum also turning down against it on this chart over here. Weekly is obviously down, but not really much history to go off of. Daily is still down, but getting way down there at 208. So yeah, I'm biased towards this one breaking to the downside after a bit of a short-term bounce. Next sort of short-term bounce area would be around 150. Below 150, this one really probably accelerates to the downside with minimum targets towards about a buck over time. Again, it very likely takes some time, but yeah, not my favorite chart of the day, man. I'll put it that way. Let's see. I think we have. Who do we have? Jacob Green next. He says Cadena USD 4-hour daily weekly. Got it. Cadena. I wonder why this one's so popular. Maybe it has a good chart. Maybe that's why. Well, not going to be helpful on that one. Let me go over here and see what this one looks like on tracks. Okay, so you're looking at 4-hour daily and weekly. Gotcha. Okay, this one's still consolidating. It ain't bad. I wouldn't say it's bad, but short term it does very likely have some downside. Got my LARP lines over here, something like that, basically. Looking for it to come back down somewhere around just under $11, somewhere between about $10.5 to $11. I still look at this one kind of good, similar to one of the other ones that we saw earlier. I forget, the name is escaping me right now, but basically, you know, as long as it's oscillating between about $18 to the upside versus about $9 even to the downside, I'm going to be bullish towards a long-term upside resolution. But I imagine, yes, exactly. After having extremes like this on your daily BBWP, you're very likely going to see BBWP at minimum trade back down below 10 percentile into the single digits before there's a reasonable chance of a, you know, of a range resolution in this case to the upside. But the same areas are relevant as before. $18 to the upside, good. Below $9 to the downside, or 9.25 to the downside, very bad. You know, if you do resolve the downside, I guess I'm looking for another wick fill of your December 19th lows at about 570 or so, $6, somewhere around there. By the same token, to the upside, I'm looking just for another retest for all-time highs at about 28.5 and probably beyond over time as well. If you're on a very short-term time frame, like a 4 hour, again, not great in the short term, very likely does pull back a little bit further. As volatility does tick up, and you know, you got a nice little downtrend right there. So again, short term, probably coming back down somewhere around just below $11. Again, not like death sense or anything, you know, but it does seem like it might be relevant to you. And let's see, you're also looking at Harmony. Yeah, we can look at Harmony. Harmony on the same time frames. Okay. 4 hour, probably going to pull back relatively soon. Pull back target somewhere around about 26.5 cent to 27 cent even. That's just relevant for the short term. Daily's good. Daily, I like it. We have a reversal going on right here, higher highs and higher lows. So short-term pullbacks very likely do fall into a higher low category right there. I'll call this out, not because I think it's going to happen, but because I think that it's relevant. Like if it were to happen, this would be very bad. Below 22 cents, I would look for this one to get absolutely fucking shredded back down towards 16 to 17 cents over time. Again, I don't think that that's what's happening right here. I think that this one's actually having a bit of a breakout in progress. You know, daily below about 22 cents, yeah, is going to be very, very problematic. But for right now, short term, just a bit of a pullback. Ultimately, I do look for this one to continue upwards and onwards towards about 32.5 to 33 cents or so. And I'm just generally bullish on this one. It's actually quite good. Monthly had a really, really good closure actually as well. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this one very likely does continue upwards and onwards towards its prior highs in this next month or two. I'm just looking for a short-term pullback. That's all. 27.5 cents, tentatively speaking, somewhere around there is completely fine. You'll know that this one's you'll know that this one's bad below about 22.5 cents. That's where this one starts to really lose its long-term goodness. Until then, just looking for short-term pullbacks. That's all. All good, man. All good. Cool. Doctor who? Dr. Thomas Raspberry, what's up, man? Happy New Year to you as well, sir. Cardurpo on the 4 hour. Oh, dear Lord, don't do this to me, man. All right, where's my Cardurpio over here? On Binance, you're looking at a 4 hour. Do you have a word on looking at order books at various steps as a worthwhile skill in addition to general technical analysis? So, order books. Okay, let me differentiate a couple things here. Do I think that order books are relevant? Fuck no. Do I think that looking at recent trades, like the order flow, very fucking relevant. Order flow is, I mean, that's basically looking at charts, right? And just a more difficult way, in my opinion. You know, I'd rather just have to kind of, you know, put into this sort of format right here. But looking at order flow, 100% incredibly powerful. I know several people who use that as their main driver. They are very fucking successful. I can verify that myself, and it's amazing. No doubt about that. Order books, just looking at orders that are potentials but not already hit off, terrible. Why is it terrible? Or at least in my experience, why is it terrible? Because orders in the order books represent just what people are first off putting in there as far as limit orders. So first off, these are not orders that have been filled. These are just phantoms. They might be filled, they might not be filled, they might be pulled. They can be pulled with, you know, the click of a button, or in most cases just an algo you know, doing it even faster than you can realize. So a lot of the time people even put in orders into the order book, not because they intended for them to get filled, but because they want to present an illusion to the market so that market participants will get confused, or they think that it matters. They think that, hey, someone's bidding this area over here, so, you know, we're not going to go below there or whatever. Those people can remove those orders faster than you can realize. Again, it's probably even a bot. Now, on top of that, you will never see in the order books iceberg orders or hidden orders, and you will also never see the orders that actually move price action by fucking definition, which are market orders, because they don't go into the order book. They get filled at market, you know? So So I always have a bit of a bone to pick with that. I know that people intuitively think that order books matter. I thought the same thing when I first started, but I was quickly humbled with with knowledge that it doesn't. And in fact, I almost got fired when I first started by looking at order books and thinking that it matters at all. Anyways, looking at a 4 hour for Cardano, probably looking at a little bit of short-term downside. Tested the range highs, rejected from the range highs. I imagine you got some hidden bearish evidence right here. Do you? Actually, no, you don't. Or yes, you do. From this side to this side. So probably a little bit of short-term downside, looking for this one to come back down to like 131.5, 132 region, something like that. If you're just on the 4 hour, if you're on a daily, again, it's kind of like Bitcoin as well. In most things in this market, I think that you're going to see a little bit of a short-term pullback, very likely a short-term pullback, anywhere around your low 131, low 132 region. And then if the market is going to be bullish, well, you're very likely to see a nice and impressive bounce around that region. In this case, that would be your next higher low for Cardurpo, and your full-on confirmation of a reversal here is back above 150. 151 if you want to be super exact on a daily closure, with targets back up towards 175 to 180 or so. Until then, what would a very bad thing be? Well, below 132 on a daily closure. Looking for this one to do what Cardurpo does best, which is go down, and targets to about 1.25 would be relevant after that. First speaking, I do think that it pulls back short term, tries for a higher low right here, and then the market kind of takes over and gives one more try to the upside. And that's kind of where I'm personally at, for better or worse. Anyways, let me just peruse around here. Let me see who is actually next. Who? No, it's Blockchain Barber. Blockchain Barber's next. Says oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, sorry, no, it's actually BK. Apologies on that. It's VADER versus wrapped Ethereum. Okay, I remember this one was interesting last week, but I forget where we left off on it. I do think that this one's putting in a bit of a top here, actually. Looking at a 4 hour. All right, let's go down to a 4 hour maybe. I don't think the daily is going to be too helpful for me. We do see a bit of a head and shoulders reversal pattern forming. We do see that the volume signature on it is proper for it. Let's see, can I get rid of this? Yeah, you did hit the 2.618 extension. That is where your current highs are kind of aligned at. You might have a bit more short-term time frame bounce around this region, but I'm not looking for this one to continue back to prioritize or nullize before first correcting lower. Where would I invalidate that and be bullish on it once again for new highs essentially, and I guess targets towards like 386 700 butyrols, whatever the fuck that number is. That'd be back above about 250,000. Until then, big problems below about 175, and that would kind of resolve this as a potential head and shoulders going on right there, with targets down towards about 140 or so, 140 to 145 or so. Until then, short term, you're probably going to see some ebbs and flows on this price action. If you're on like a very short term time frame, like an hourly, bearish, but bearish on an hourly doesn't really make sense. But look, I'm looking for this one to come back down somewhere around very, very short term, 200,000. Don't know if that's relevant to you or not. Daily, I'm not going to be able to make much of. It's just a little bit too new in this case, but for what it's worth, it looks more toppy than not. Generally looking for this one to trade sideways and down from here, with bounces in between and tentative targets over a long period of time, like 140 regions to 150 regions, something like that. That's kind of where I'm looking towards. What are you laughing at over there, sir? Blockchain Barber says, blesses any future zombie fetus. My fucking man. Sand. Okay, yeah. We haven't looked at Sand in a while, and this one was one of the better actors in especially like late 2021. So we got going on over here. You're looking at a 4 hour, 12 hour daily and monthly. Still in the range and very likely to test the bottom side of that range. No. Oh, that's just short term. Okay, I'm on a 12 hour right now. Okay, yeah. Okay, there we go. Now it makes sense. Now you are, you're already kind of testing the bottom side of that range. I want to get rid of my damn LARP lines there. Damn LARP lines. Any sort of a break below about 562, and I'm looking for this one to come all the way down to about 5.25, somewhere around 5.25 to 530 or so. I'm going to get rid of this for right now as well. It's not super relevant to what we're talking about. If you're on a shorter term time for like a 4 hour, yep, I am a little bit more biased towards this one breaking down, to be honest with you. You got a slew of lower highs. You got hidden bearish evidence right there. You got very low volatility on that last lower high. It's typically going to be a breakdown setup. I'd still probably wait for confirmation on that, just to be fair, because it is a rather big move here. But first speaking, yeah, I do think that it comes back down to that region. But just like a lot of the other ones that, we saw hit extremes here in late 2021, you're probably going to see this one correct for a while, and you're probably going to see it, try for a higher low on the higher term timeframes. Whilst BBWP still contracts. And again, tentatively speaking, I'd probably be looking somewhere around about 5.25, let's say, give or take. I only get bearish on this thing long term below about 435. Until then, it's just corrections here. Weekly, just out of curiosity. Long term, still very, very good. I'm bullish on this one long term, but a move down to like 5.25, painless, and then probably does bounce up from there. That's kind of generally what I'm thinking on something like this. But yeah, long term is generally good here. I'm just looking for short term corrections, kind of buys more towards a test down towards like 5.25 first. That's essentially what I'd be saying. Now I'll be wrong on that, and you'll know that I'd be wrong on that if you do trade back above about 618. Above 618, I am going to be phenomenally wrong about that. You're very likely going to see a move back around $7, and it's probably going to continue from there over time. But fair enough. You know, always need to have an invalidation for thoughts. Okay, cool. I think we have Antares. Antares? No. Sir, it's about the same, sir. Antares. RDPX. Oh man. Okay, maybe you shouldn't have been next. What the fuck is this thing? RDPX. Okay. DOPEX rebate token. This one sounds very legit, sir. And actually, it's pretty legit as far as charts go, at least on the short-term time frames. Yeah, daily is continuing here as well. Bullish as fuck, man. Bullish as fuck, I guess. RDP. What the fuck is this thing? It's a reward token, or it's a rebate. It's a rebate token. Okay, so I'm guessing like market makers get paid this for getting filled on limit orders. I'm guessing for doing their job basically. I'm actually looking for this one to continue from here. This is a breakout. Let's see, where are the relevant targets for this next move? Probably looking somewhere around about 0.037 to 0.0425 before the next sort of correction. Somewhere around here is what I'm trying to say. Somewhere around here, whatever the fuck this thing is. Dear Lord, man. Fair enough. Yeah, pretty damn good. Shouldn't have judged it before. For what it's worth. Where do you invalidate this one and be bearish on it? Below about 2, I'm guessing, is that 2 million or 20 million? Whatever it is, the 2 number right there. That's where I'd say that that's invalidated. Michael Wong said, oh, you're from Hawaii real estate. Do you have houses over there? That'd actually be amazing to live in Hawaii. Hello, sir. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Can you do flux on the 4-hour and daily? Yeah. Symbol FLUX, UST. Okay, cool on Binance. Another good one. Actually, another pretty damn good one. What the fuck? These altcoins are going wild right now. Broke out a few days ago, it looks like. We charted this one, I guess, before, which is why that area is relevant at 240. Where are the next targets, however? Where are the next relevant areas of interest? You're kind of at one right now. Maybe I actually redo this for our current range just to be a little more lenient on it, as it is rather fresh. Probably looking for this one to continue somewhere around about 3.5 to 360-ish region first, and then I'd be looking for a bit of a pullback in consolidation. 4 hours trending right now, so I'm looking for a continuation from here. This is good. Invalidation short term is below 260. I'm generally looking towards those targets to be met first before any sort of a potential major pullback. And this one's generally good here. Generally good. You know, while I do think that it hits the $3.5 target, I'll just be looking for a pullback. Then we'll come back to it after that. Presumably higher lows somewhere around low $3 numbers, and then, you know, potential targets more long term around end of Q1 2022, maybe into the $4.5 to $5 region. Actually, one of the better charts we've seen today. Again, very, very new, but well, fair enough. There are some advantages to that, as you can see right there. What? Yeah. Okay. We can close the super chats now. All right. We'll close the rest of the super chats for now. Sweet. I think we have Mr. Nimai next, just jumped in there. METIS versus wrapped Ethereum on the 4-hour and daily. Sure. I remember we looked at this one a few times, end of 2021, and it was decent. Let's see what we got. Yeah, still pretty damn decent right here. In fact, pin it. Pin it. All right. You say, okay, can you close it, or let me just wait for it to populate there. There we go. Found it. Nice one. I almost reported your message, but no, didn't mean to do that. All right. Let's see. You're looking at a 4-hour and daily. Let's see if the 4-hour is not sitting in a higher low right now. I'm looking for this one to come back down around your not point. Is this 5 cents? No, it's not 5 cents. 510 million butyrols or some shit. Whatever. Just this area right here. Short term down, long term up. It's fucking good. Needs to be no more complicated than that, man. Let's see, what does the weekly look like? Yeah, the weekly is fucking good, man. I'm looking for this one to make new highs in early to mid January here. This is really good. This is among the best charts we've seen today. Again, you know, short-term corrections down to like 0.0461 butyrols, whatever the hell that number is fine. Shit, this thing could even come back down to 386, which is completely fine. I'm bullish on this one, especially as long as you're above there for the long-term timeframes. All higher-term timeframes show continuation. Looking somewhere around about, I'm guessing, I don't know what that number is here, but let me just put a nice little box around it. Probably looking for continuation over here over the next few weeks. And that's where I'd be looking for a more prolonged correction and consolidation. Until then, still pretty damn strong here. Still obviously trending. Short-term pullbacks very likely do align with just higher lows. Again, short-term pullbacks can come all the way down to this region here, but I'm generally bullish on this one. So fair enough. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for that, sir. Nice. Cool. I think we have, who do we have next? I think we have Mr. Holy shit. We got a lot of them actually. Holy fuck. That might be a problem. All right. Wait, what? Yeah, I got you. Elijah Schmidt says, hello, good sir. What's up, man? Can you look at Sol USD? Yeah, Solana. Where is my Solana? I know that I have it charted out over here, 173. Similar to all the other charts that we've seen today, short term kind of already played out the majority of that downside move, but if it wants to maybe make one more spike down towards about 170 even, that's fine. I still look at this as a bit of a base area above about 168. So short term, still maybe just one more slight move to the downside. Where do you have your range resolution as far as the short and medium term timeframes go? Right here, very, very close to it, about 179 and a quarter. I imagine that's probably consistent for 4 hours. Well, indeed it is. And above there, I would be targeting moves back up towards that minimum 190, probably more like 198, and that's where the higher term timeframes really start to get going. But the bigger picture here is that you might be setting in a bit of a higher low at this 170-ish region. So while I do think that short term you come back down around there, assuming that you don't break below there, I am looking for this one to actually put in a major low right there. Actually, if it does fail, I'd be looking for a big spike down towards about 155 to 150 base. That would obviously not be good for the long term, and probably imply that whatever bounce comes from there does eventually fail. But for right now, I still give it the benefit of the doubt. Again, among the best charts that we saw in 2021 weekly. Yeah, I'm probably looking for one more spike down around your current short-term time frame lows, and then try for a bounce there. And this thing starts to look really, really good on the higher term time frames, back up about 198. But just like the other ones that went absolutely vertical for the majority of 2021, I don't think it's going to be doing anything super interesting for a while here. Now BBWP on the daily is actually rather low, so maybe I do take that back. I mean, it has been kind of more corrective than not for the last 2 months. So let's see, what else do we have? What more hopium could we squeeze out for you? Well, you do have this right here. You do have a bit of a falling channel going on right now, or is it more of a falling broadening wedge? Whatever the fuck it is, same thing, man. Same sort of interpretation of this implies, very similar to Ethereum, actually. This one a little bit stronger than Ethereum, however. Back above about 198, very good. Very likely looking at targets towards 230 to 235. Below 150, very not good. Short term, very likely test around about 170. I'm just looking for higher lows right around there. Maybe we briefly check it out over here. I'm curious if there is going to be anything that's a little more obvious on this one. And daily Stokes will actually turn back up with any sort of a closure today above about 174, which are right within striking distance up. So that is a good sign. 5-day has been correcting the whole way through here. Yes, it's still showing that we probably don't see this one do any busting action to new highs or prior highs. But this is, this is generally long-term good when you see something like that. And then 4 hour is, hard down. So short term, I am looking for this one to trade a little bit sideways and down here and test around your 4 hour lows. But assuming no break there, I'm just looking at this as your next daily higher low potentially, which would be long-term good. And this would be kind of your reversal formation in progress here. You kind of have a similar history on this one of doing these things as well, similar to Ethereum actually, with these falling channels, obviously. So something like this, and you got your current one going on right here as well. So fair enough. I think a little bit of waiting right there goes a long way. But short term, probably a little bit of sideways and down there, as are most things today, actually. All right, cool. What's up, Keanu? Hope you're well as well, man. Thank you for that. Sweet. I think we got Curvon Williams next. Says, could you do the 2 and 4 hour on Sea-War? Yes, it's a pooper. Oh, dear Lord. What are we getting ourselves into right now, man? Sea-War. Sea-War. Cryo-War. All right. On KuCoin. Maybe Coinex is like the new shitcoin exchange, but actually KuCoin has a little bit more history here. All right, so we did play at the move all the way back down to our prior lows. Just beautiful right there. If you're looking at the very low term time frames like a 2 and 4, as you did request, I actually do think it's going to bounce here. Typically when you retest your prior lows, you're going to get a bit of a pity bounce. In this case, I imagine you probably also have a bit of bullish divergence formulating, and you do. So this one actually, contrary to a lot of the things that we've seen today, I actually think that's setting up for a bounce here relatively soon. Short term, anywhere around 130 to 131 is fair game. Where does this one actually show a bit of a short term reversal and can initiate targets, decent amount higher? Although again, do not confuse targets higher with a full on reversal. That'd be above 135 and a half. At that point, I would be looking for this one to retest around about 150 to 152. Problem is, long term, you're still in a massive downtrend and it's still ugly as fuck. And this thing's probably worthless, as are most altcoins, but short-term upside, above that region with targets to about a buck and a half. Where would I call this one fully bullish? And, we can talk about bull Jesus yet again taking the wheel. Not anytime soon, man. Basically a 2x from here at about 220 would do it for me. Until then, short-term upside moves very likely create lower highs and set it up for long-term downside continuation. But short-term, very likely bouncy. It's kind of opposite of most of the charts that we've seen today. Short-term bouncy, long-term not great. Not great, you might say. And I'll be invalid on that with short-term bad as well, below about 120 on a 4 hour with targets down to $105 after that. Cool. Maybe not so cool from you. Sorry, man. Oozly says, positive vibes. Positive vibes indeed, sir. Did you see Phantom one day? I have not seen it, so we will go look at it now, and we will see it on the one day. One of the better ones. Again, one of the better ones. Testing around your daily range highs. That'd be right here. 260 to 280-ish region is kind of what you're looking at. Now, just like a lot of the other ones, I imagine your short-term timeframes are probably set enough for a bit more of a pullback. 4 hour timeframe does have 1, 2, 3 drops of bearish divergence right there. So I wouldn't mind another short-term downside move towards about 2.25. Again, just looking for higher lows there. This is among some of the better charts that we've seen today, to be fair. I would call an upside range resolution here and also a pattern resolution as well in the format of an inverted head and shoulders, which fair enough, it is in there. So I guess it's relevant to call out. That would be above about 260. If that does get confirmed, actually would be looking for a march to new all-time highs, just below $4, with stops along the way at about 3.25 and again at about 3.5. But yeah, short-term, a little bit of short-term sideways and down is fine. Weekly, good. Long-term, monthly, good. Long-term, actually really good closure to end the year, to be fair. I can tell you where I'd get very bearish on this one with targets back down to 140. Not that I think it's going to happen, but if this did happen, this would be quite not great for longs, I guess. That would be below $2. Any sort of a tick below $2, very, very devastating. Until then, I treat this as a reversal in progress and, decent right here. Do we have? No, we do not have. Yeah, it's generally okay. Maybe just briefly check it out from this angle just to see if there's anything else that's more obvious. Maybe for, I imagine it's corrective below 250. Indeed it is. Daily is up above 230. 5-day is freshly up above 148.5. Interesting. Yeah, short-term pullback. Long-term, actually kind of like this one. Below $2 destroys all Bula-ish hope for a while, with targets back down to like we said, like low, mid to low $1. But until then, one of the better potential setups right there. Sweet. Leonardo Ramirez. Very exotic and nice name, sir. Happy New Year to you as well. Can you check out? Oh, it's like he read your fucking mind, man. You're both looking at FTM USD. Yeah, same thing to say here as I did just now. Yeah, just maybe one more short-term time frame pullback to like a 2.25, so it's fine. Below $2, problems. Until then, treat the trend as your friend. Let's see, who do we have next? Mr. IR Brandon. He says, would you do Link 4 hour and daily? Yeah, no one asked about Link no more. Let's see where she is. Where is the old linkers over here? 21.5, and not that bad actually. Very similar to all the other charts that we've seen today. This one obviously has a higher low in place, and it's already kind of confirmed this one is a higher low as well. Now your next major area that really confirms this as probably a macro low. Yeah, looking at the full chart now, I actually would say that this would be a macro low right here. It would be actually rather soon, above 23 and 40 on a daily closure. I do look for this one to put in big rallies, big green dildos back up towards 28 to $30 actually. This will look quite good. Short-term timeframes, are we likely to pull back here or not? A little bit of hidden bearish divergence right there. You could argue that that's already played out. I would, maybe might have one more short-term pullback down to like 2090 or so. But I treat this one as the lows are in, actually, as long as you're above basically 2080? 2080 on a 4 hour closure. As long as you're above there, I'm actually looking for this one to trade sideways and up here. 2340 is your next major area to be aware of. I'm pretty much all time frames above there. I'm looking for big rallies, actually. This would look quite good for what it's worth. I mean, coming off those lows, I wouldn't say that like the last few months have been great on this one, but hey, fair enough. You got to start somewhere, obviously. Where does this one look absolutely terrible? Well, would you like to talk about that or not? Well, first things first, big red flags below 280 daily. No more excuses for this one, and very likely sending it back down towards the low teens if you do see any sort of a daily closure below $19. But until then, I think it's okay. showing a little bit of promise there, I suppose. Dominic Orcel says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. ALCX. Okay. ALCX. Alchemix on Binance. Looking at a 4-round daily and weekly. Bought 8,000 worth at 196 last week. Looking bullish to 400. It's quite a... Okay, actually you did pretty fucking well. I was like, man, that's a stretch of a trade right there. Like, holy shit. Swinging for the fences, no doubt about that. But, yeah. I'd be looking somewhere around $400. That's basically your prior, like, I'm guessing it's like an IC or something like that high. 390 to $400, something like that. Very likely a bit of a pullback there. Does a pullback put you into a higher low? Probably yes, but this thing could pull back down to like $300 and still be long-term bullish. Pretty damn good, man. Really, really good. Wow, powerful, man. So you basically double your money. That's amazing. Well done, man. Fucking well done. Holy shit. Powerful trade right there. God damn. Okay, so you take this one right here. Wow, man. You bought at the perfect moment. You bought literally the higher low. That is about as perfect trading as you could do. At least from my view. I mean, I know someone's gonna say, "Oh, but you could have bought 180." It's like, no, shut the fuck up. It's like, that's a gamble right here. This is your higher low. That is actually really, really good trading. Really fucking well done, man. Yeah, I do think that you're probably gonna hit around your target. I mean, you're close enough right there already. Probably pulls back. Probably sets up for a higher low. I'm gonna guess somewhere just around low $300, upper 280s, or 290 or something like that, and then try for new highs after that. I mean, it's actually pretty good. Pretty damn good right there, man. Cool. All right, let's see. Did I do Michael's? Where is it up? Oh, yeah, Michael Wong. Yeah, we got him. Yeah, I'll do Luke now. He says Sis, 1-4, and daily. Gotcha. Sis coin. Yeah, this one was good last week too, and still pretty damn good here too. I'm generally going to be bullish on bullish charts, and this is a bullish chart. Monthly closed on new all-time highs. Good. Daily is continuation long term. Short term, are we going to pull back a little bit? Kind of already did. If you do want to pull back again, deeper pullback targets will be initiated if you do take out your current higher low at 112.70. And I would be looking for, somewhat big moves down to $1, but still all higher term time frames bullish. So I'm just looking for higher lows there. Long term, I'm still looking for this one over the next couple weeks here to stab around about 170 before the next sort of corrective phase, probably playing back down to, low $1 regions. Yeah, generally still looking for sideways and up on this one. Still pretty damn good. If you're looking at an hourly, which I guess you asked about, short-term corrections down to like 118, 120 are completely fine. I don't know if that's super relevant to you. The only issues are below about 113.5. Cool. All right, man, we should have maybe closed the super chats a little bit earlier. Oh boy. All right, cool. I will pull up the rest ones over here. All right, so we got that. I think we have Mr. Jaffrey next. He says SATO chart. Okay, no time frames given on this one, but I'm just gonna roll with it. And again, guys, we did have to close the super chats a little bit earlier. Not fucking good, man. Really fucking bad. Motherfucker! Why does nothing work? Oh, fuck! Probably going to 0. Worst chart we've seen all day.
Is it going to the moon?
This one's been banned from the moon. This one is not going to the Copacabana. This one is going to fucking 0! Wow. Pretty bad. Pretty fucking bad, man. Well, I gotta hand it to you, man. You did pick out the worst chart of the day. Again, I'm not talking shit about you as a person. You're great, man. But this as a chart, terrible. Really, really bad. Really, really bad. Really fucking bad. It literally only goes down. With a name like Saitu Inu, how could it go down? This must be a scam. It is. You can tell by the name. It's fucking bad, man. Yeah, not great right there. Not great. Suppressive Fire says GRT USD overview looks ready to go. Let's see. Maybe. Maybe. Anything looks good compared to that last chart, though. Looks ready to go. Yeah, you do have a nice little higher low right here. Let's go to a daily maybe. That would be a little more powerful. Yeah, looking like a bit of a higher low right there. Coming on low volatility. I just want to see this. This one is quote unquote ready to go in my mind. Back above 75.75. Above there, that's when I look at this one as very likely, kind of similar to Link in a case. It's probably put in a major low, macro low in this case, probably with targets back up towards $1 plus. Would look pretty damn good. Where it is not ready to go, where it is unready, you might say, is below 61 cents. Big fucking red dildos below there. Until then, it's actually showing a little bit of short-term strength here as well. Yeah, I generally kind of agree with you. I just want to see that next level taken out. Short-term probably tests around there, so that should give it a chance to do such, which is good.
Sir?
What?
He said I did mean SATO token.
SATO token.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so this thing, this is an inverted chart, so all right, man, this is the only other thing I can pull up with this. This is actually pretty good, whatever the hell this thing is. Whatever the hell this thing is, it's actually pretty damn good. Might be a bit of a short-term pullback to 48,000 or whatever the hell that is. But long-term, I'm looking for continuation, man. This is actually quite good. It's a little bit difficult to look at this chart, or sorry, chart this chart, because I am looking at it inverted, because it's obviously Ethereum versus SATO, and then I'm inverting the chart. But I am looking for this one actually to go all the way up to like 25. Wait, it's like descending numbers right there. 25,000 to 21,000. It's gonna be hard to do the conversions on something like that, but generally speaking, I would be bullish on this chart. There's actually nothing bearish about this chart for what it's worth. As long as you're above that last higher low, I mean, it's actually quite good. Again, don't know. I don't know if this is what you're also looking at, because it's the same ticker, same thing right there. But the other chart has me very concerned, very, very concerned. But this would not be the worst chart of the day. It's actually would be among some of the better ones. So hopefully that was the one that you're looking for. If not, man, that's pretty much all that we can see on TradingView, as you can see. So well, hopefully that was in some way helpful. But this one would be pretty damn good for what it's worth. All right, we did Flux already for Mr. Dr. Roxo earlier. We did Luna already for Tuan Wallet. We did it for Zico as well. Flux for Ahmed. Yep, we got all of those. OMI for Mr. Mike. Yep, we haven't done that just yet. I think this is what is this thing? Ecomi. Yeah, we've looked at this one a million times in the past. Where is it right now? On the 4 hour, you say. Okay, we go to the 4 hour over here. Short term, very likely looking for a bit more downside, somewhere back down around about, what is it, 0.6 of a cent. It's not really like bearish though. I don't know if that's super relevant to you. In fact, I mean, I'm bullish on the daily right here. This looks like a short-term reversal to me. Any sort of a daily closure above 6.6 of a cent, and I'd be calling big moves up, big green dildos to 7.3 of a cent, maybe even 7.5 of a cent. So it just kind of depends on what time frame you're looking at. 4 hour time frame, yeah, you might come down a little bit more. It's probably not relevant to you if I had to guess, but I would only get bearish on this one. I'd only get bearish on this one if your 4 hour closes below about 0.6 of a cent. So you can come back down and test around there. That's fine. I'm actually looking at this as a slew of higher lows. Then anywhere above 6.6 of a cent on I'd really be using a higher term time frame closure, but I'd be looking for big moves up after that. It actually would be generally good. What about a weekly? Yeah, well, maybe not so much on a weekly. I'm not getting too much from that. What about a 5 day? Yeah, same thing as well. What about a 2 day? A little bit better. We'll stick with that one. give a little bit of hoping right there. Cool. Let's see. We got Nicholas Padieci. Padieci, is that right? Can you look at CRV daily and weekly? Yeah, this has been one of the better ones, especially in the last couple months here. Yeah, I'm still looking at this one as really, really good. Short term, do you pull back down to like 5.5? Maybe. You could even pull back down to 5.10. That's completely fine. Long term, still looking at general continuation here to open up 2022 in Q1. Looking at targets somewhere around $9 to $10 before the next major consolidation and correction. Again, all higher term timeframes on this one are showing continuation. Just short term, do you correct a little bit further south first? I think so. I think you at minimum come down to like 550 and try for a higher low there on a 4 hour. If 550 fails, then I look down somewhere around about 510 or so. I don't really have any reason to get bearish on this one as long as you're above about 475. And even bearish wouldn't be the right term. I'd just be looking for a big move down after that, and it's no longer in like a more strong position for the short term, showing more continuation on higher term timeframes first before a pullback. So basically, it's a long way of saying very, very short term timeframes. Yes, very likely does pull back a little bit more here. Bearish divergence on the 4 hour, and you're still kind of contracting on volatility. So I'm looking for this one to try for a higher low somewhere around 550. If that area fails, look down towards 510. That's kind of like the last one I'd really be looking for to remain with its good short-term posturing. Long-term, I'm looking for this one to move up towards $9 to $10, probably in this first quarter of 2022 for what it's worth. So yeah, And there's also another obvious trade on this one as well. It's just anywhere below last week's low at 457. I do look for this one to correct heavily after that towards $4 even. I don't think that that's what's happening, but I feel compelled to call that out just because like it's a more obvious one. Cool. Pino. Hey sir, baby doggy USD motherfucker. Just when we got through SATO, baby doggy. Motherfucker! It's on TradingView. How could this happen? It's actually not that bad. It's actually really not that bad. What the fuck, man? What the fuck, man? It's actually not bad here. I'd actually have to be bullish on this chart. Short term very likely comes back down anywhere around about 23.20. Minimum probably more like 21.30 is a little more likely right there, but this is actually okay and probably does continue on over the next few weeks back up towards your prior, in this case, I guess all-time highs at 5,000 or so. I'm just looking for a short-term pullback. Let's just call it down to like 2150 or so. Somewhere around there is fair game. And then long-term continuation. Wow, that was a bit of a surprise. What the fuck? Baby doggy. Baby doggy coin. All right, it's cryptocurrency land, man. Can't take this shit seriously. It's like, we want an ETF. That's right. We want an ETF, but we also got baby doggy coin and damn fucking community as well. Oh well, fair enough, man. Teach their own, but yeah, short term, a little bit continuation to the downside. Long term, I'm actually looking for this one to put in some girthy green dildo to the upside, man. Not bad. Can't really be bearish on this one as long as you're above 1750. So fair enough. Cool. Sweet. I think that's it, sirs and sirs. It was a nice day. It was a very nice day. A nice day back in the year of 2022. Feel a little bit low energy myself today. I think I actually got a little bit sick in the last day, but oh well. Worse things have happened in life. We got through this one. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. Just going back on a Bitcoin over here. Craziness, man. Could have done the exact same analysis on this for the last month and a half. And that's basically all that's been. If you're on the short-term time frames, 48,000 bucks to the upside, good. 45.5 to the downside, bad. Daily, make that 52 to the upside versus 45.5 to the downside. Still biased towards another bounce off this region. The question is, does Bitcoin come down and fulfill that gap test from last Friday closure? You could look at that as already even happened over here as well. You know, in fact, I'd say that it's probably more or less effectively filled. You don't even really see it on a daily, and that's usually my criteria for that. If you're on an hourly, of course it does, but a little bit too low of a time frame for me to really put much weight on, to be fair. So with all that said, more or less the same. Craziness, man. Fucking craziness. I'll be signing off now. I want to wish everyone well, though. I want to wish everyone a nice and healthy and happy start to this nice new year that we all have together. We'll be back on tomorrow, and I suspect that we might even have some new to be looking at as well. Thank you to our mod squad over here. This was amazing. Really do appreciate you stopping on in. And again, take care. Hopefully we'll see you soon. And until next time, as Elsa snaps her fingers, cracks her little crab claws in the background. With that said, see you soon. Until next time.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR, pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it.